What's going on, everyone? It's time for a horror film review. Today we're going to do a remake, Night of the Demons, the 2009 remake of the classic 1980s film Night of the Demons, which I don't even think I reviewed yet, but I have it and it will be coming soon. So if I haven't reviewed it yet, but yeah, but this one is was released by Seven Arts Pictures, and it stars Shannon Elizabeth, Monica Keena, uh, Diora Baird, Michael Copen, and Edward Furlong, the little teen from Terminator 2. Yeah, so it was produced by Greg McKay, written by Jace Anderson, and co-written and directed by Adam Garish, who did another pretty decent horror film called Autopsy, but he's done other things too, like House by the Lake, Fertile Ground, which is not that bad too, and Fractured. This had a budget of $10 million, but this was a big flop when it came out because it only made $64,000. But yeah, but it has its fans and it has a small cult following now, I think. So I'm seeing this more and more coming back. So especially around like Halloween time. But yeah, so um, yeah, so this is, like I said, is the remake of the 1980 film, which is a film about a group of people having a party. This one, it takes place on in a house um, in New Orleans, like an abandoned house where they have a huge rave party, and it gets shut down. But some of the attendees stay there because they're hiding from the cops and stuff. Like Edward Furlong's character is a drug dealer, and some of them were hooking up and stuff and got stuck there. So they go exploring the house to spend the night because they don't want to get caught in this place. So as they go, they find some dead bodies down below, down in the basement, and of course they end up touching them. Pricks their finger, and the demons like down there start possessing them and causing chaos. Yeah, overall, this film was amusing. So there's a lot of scenes that are unintentionally funny, but then there's also scenes in this that were just plain dumb. Yeah, but for what it was, it's not really scary, but for the most part, I thought it was okay. Um, yeah, the practical effects in this were mostly good. Some of them look pretty rubbery and fake prosthetic looking, but yeah, for the most part, it looked decent. They look decent enough because it was done by Jack Studios, so they usually do a decent enough job. They usually do more smaller budget films, I think. But anyways, yeah. But the characters in this are pretty poorly written. None of them are really interesting. Most of them are pretty run of the mill sort of style, and yeah, it wasn't too intentional, but yeah, the thought and like watching the making of this film, the director really had a big heart for horror and really wanted to do his best at making his own version of this, and you could tell that it's definitely a product of the times. Though it's definitely an early 2000s movie. Like in another 20 years it probably won't hold up too well. But for the most part, I thought it was okay. There's a lot of good fight scenes and stuff like that. It runs pretty much the same as the original for the second half of the film. It's just the characters and the setting was changed, and obviously some of the demons. But they got the main demon looking pretty identical to the original, surprisingly. So yeah, but the acting is hit and miss, and I wasn't a huge fan of the story or anything like that. I thought it was kind of pointless. Like they kind of like set something up and then just forget about it and stuff. A lot of loose ends, and overall a pretty cheesy climax, ending scenes and stuff, which was actually pretty amusing at the same time. So, but for the most part, I thought it was okay. Nothing too spectacular. It's not as bad as the April Fool's Day 2008 remake or anything, but yeah. But there's definitely better ones out there. This is probably middle of the road, I'd say. So I'm gonna give Night of the Demons 2009 a 2.5 out of 5. Um, it's okay, but it could have been a lot better. But still, if you want to see some good monster demons attacking people with little reasoning and stuff, and watching people get possessed when they touch skeletons, this one might be for you. And if you want to watch something that's unintentionally funny, this is a good one for it too. So, yeah. But if you want to see this, I'll either try to find this film somewhere online if I can find it for free so you can watch it. I'll link it down below, but if not, I'll just link the trailer down below so you can check that out. Also, link down below is my Instagram. That's where I always post clips of films and review in the future. All my stories have the film title hashtag and subgenre film in a hashtag, so you're aware of it. My Letterbox is down below at Derek P Reviews. That's where I post my first star rating right after watching the films. And also my Twitter's down there at reviews_Derek. So follow me on those platforms and look at this channel. Like this video, share it so more people aware of it. Comment your opinions of the film down below and let me know if you want me to do the rest of the Night of the Demons films. There's 3 other ones before this, so I'll definitely be doing the original sometime, but if you want me to do the sequels as well, let me know. Also, if you have any films or film franchise in any genre that you want to hear my opinions on in the future on any streaming site, comment those down below. I'll try my hardest to get to them as soon as I can and if I can find them. Also, make sure you subscribe. Hope you find something weird, obscure, and odd they probably never thought of checking out together. And also, so you hear my opinions on popular films that come out, classic films, and reviews on other things as well. And don't forget to ring that bell because we're going to go into more thriller territory about another early 2000s film, Vacancy. That'll be the next review. So make sure you tune in for that and watch out for all those demons lurking in abandoned homes, especially New Orleans. And I guess I'll see you all in the next one. So until then, cheers.